Bitter criticism. I have a lot of news. 191 pages from Russia Today. I will start commenting that, or commenting. Yeah, I will start commenting that yesterday I heard some podcast from NATO stand. Just repeating a Pepe Escobar concept. There's a lot of, YouTube is a NATO stand platform, you know. If you are a normal regular people, you will have at some point in your life you will have problems with YouTube. YouTube will censor you. So that happened to me. They censored me this very channel. In the very beginning of the SMO, the Special Military Operation, I uploaded some videos about Russia. I put in the title Russia, and they just don't allow to do that, you know. The YouTube doesn't allow videos about Russia, at least not in my channel. Well, something wrong happened to me. Well, that's to say that I'm pretty sure that Russia Today is still banned from YouTube. And YouTube is a channel, is a platform full. Is a platform full of shit. Now, venga, arriba. Well, are you seeing Mursi here? Come on, Mursi. Well, with Mursi by my side, there's a lot of video about NATO. You know, globalist videos supporting Ukraine. Satanizing Russia, demonizing Russia, and there's this video where some guy, I didn't saw his face because he was just listening. This guy said Ukraine is being Czechoslovakia in the World War II, and that's fine because it's avoiding World War III. But the question is, the detail is, I remember all the narrative from all the arguments from the West. I guess I don't remember actually. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember everything. But I'm pretty sure that nobody in the West, no President Zelensky, Biden, Ursula von der Leyen, Olaf Scholz, nobody ever said that the NATO expansion, it will be to fight Russia. You know, nobody says that. Nobody. But this time, somebody on this, I will. The problem is the very file is in this very camera, you know, so I cannot see. So next time I will tell you. This guy said Ukraine is being what Czechoslovakia was not. Like Czechoslovakia didn't fight. Well, I didn't. The question is, Ukraine is preventing World War III by fighting Russia. That's what he says. By killing a lot of Ukrainian people. And that's it. So they are fighting against Russia. You know, I guess it's the first time somebody said that. And that said, I guess I'm gonna put that on the headline, on the title of this video. But by now, I'm going just to read bitter criticism news. Timur Fomenko on bitter criticism. I know Pepe Escobar. It deserves something like this to find his files, and to read it. But as I was saying, Timur Fomenko is more short, and he's Russian, I guess. He's like a chess player, a Russian chess player. Yeah, I guess, Alexander Buletova. No. Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. Timur Fomenko is a chess player. He is a Russian guy, just thinking about his life, because he's a Russian guy. And I guess, my opinion is that as Russia is winning right now, they are making a lot of great deals, expensive ones, and there's no threat right now, and that's why he's reading easy things like this one. June 8, 2024, Home World News. Why you should believe China's spying accusations against the UK? Can you see it's about China? So it's not a big problem for Russia. Western intelligence agencies have made no secret about their wishes to infiltrate Beijing. By Timur Fomenko, a political analyst. Goodbye, Mursi. Goodbye. Go away. China recently announced that it had arrested 2 of its own nationals on suspicion of aiding British Foreign Intelligence Agency MI6. According to Beijing, the suspected couple were lured by the husband's desire for money, having recruited him while he was studying in the UK, claiming that they subjected him to repeat persuasion, enticement, and even coercion. The individual, named only as Wang, when worked with his wife on behalf of British intelligence in an attempt to spy on Chinese state. So this is a Chinese guy who wants more money. Yeah, Chinese people, they love money. What about that? The revelation of 2 spies allegedly working for MI6 on Chinese state. The revelation of 2 spies allegedly working for MI6 coincides with a growing alarm in the UK regarding supposed Chinese espionage. Across the past few months, 2 men have been charged with spying for China. One who was a parliamentary researcher, another group of men were then charged with doing so on behalf of the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office. Finally, in addition to that, the UK government publicized several alleged hacks and leaks, including in the Electoral Register and Ministry of Defense, which has had blaming on Beijing. It is easy amidst these allegations to assume that Beijing is engaging in a tit for tat, given the widespread negative publicity coming from Britain. And it is obviously in Beijing's political interest to make the cases of alleged UK spying known. But that doesn't mean that the allegations are necessarily without merit. It might first be, he added, that while Western establishment media promulgates constant paranoia about China, the UK remains part of the Five Eyes network, which is the most comprehensive and sophisticated intelligence alliance in the world. The Five Eyes network, yeah. London actively cooperates with Australia, Canada, the United States, and New Zealand to share intelligence and closely follows its geopolitical goals. Second, MI6 has hardly made it a secret that it seeks to increase its focus on China. Alex Younger, the former head of the agency, stated last year that Britain is in a competition with Beijing and must wake up. In 2021, the current head of MI6 stated that China, as well as Russia and Iran, were the agency's top priorities. Logically, looking at such open political rhetoric, it seems improbable to assume MI6 will not be attempting to infiltrate China and its government. This, after all, is not just the British agency's chief objective, but also that of the CIA and the US too. William Burns, current head of the CIA, has been quite open in stating America's objective to rebuild its network. In China, which has in fact been foreseeably suppressed by the Communist Party, one can only assume, based on this, that the UK is a willing compliance. It is for this reason that China has aggressively intensified its domestic campaign to root out and arrest spies in its home territory, an effort predictably framed by media as closing up or being arbitrary. When we think of spies, especially British ones, there is always a temptation to assume they are super skilled secret agents like James Bond. But in reality, intelligence gathering works in a mundane way by making connections inside of key institutions in order to gain access to confidential information. Those who are successfully bought and exist on the inside are known as assets and are often financially rewarded for their efforts. So a pretty nice, Timur Fomenko, as I used to say before, he's pedagogic, you know, you learn, you basically are reading content, substantial paragraphs. I'm not saying Pepe Escobar doesn't that, but somehow, Pepe, you can trust more on Timur Fomenko because he's more clear, he's more sober, I guess. He's kind of Russian, I guess. He's kind of cold, understand? He's cold. So maybe I know something from MI6. Maybe I read something before. Maybe I read something from Five Eyes network of espionage, I guess, or intelligence share. But I just forgot what he said, you know. That's people, you know, that's normal people. We are always forgetting what we read. I have this feeling that the Five Eyes is not a conspiracy, you know, because Five Eyes, well, what a conspiratory name, isn't it? So if you read by Timur Fomenko, who is super serious, he just said James Bond just because he's not a shot to the air, you know, is because he's super hegemonic, you know. James Bond is ultra hegemonic in pop culture. Anyway, everybody knows James Bond. And well, now I know the Five Eyes is a serious thing and not a conspiracy theory, you know. I lost myself, but I guess I will. Those who are successfully bought and exist on the inside are known as assets and are often financially rewarded for their efforts. There is also a gray zone that overlaps between what constitutes intelligence and research in the form of information, and thus the work of the CIA and MI6 often strongly connects with the state and the military sponsor think tanks. Take for example Michael Corvin, a Canadian who was arrested on espionage charges in China following Canada's arrest of Huawei SFO Meng Wanzhou. Although the mainstream media proclaimed his innocence constantly, and it was ultimately revealed that he as an employee of International Crisis Group think tank, was providing intelligence to the Canadian Secret Intelligence Service. Because of this, China has also cracked down on US consultancy firms in the country, such as, for example, Mint, which is headed by a former CIA official. Why does it crack down on these firms? Because they can gather research about Chinese companies and organizations, which can then be passed back to the US government, especially on issues such as supply chains. Thus, China typically pays close attention to locals who cooperate with the firms, who can become witting or unwitting spies. All in all, this teaches us about the various efforts that the UK and US go to in order to spy within China. Although the mainstream media paint McCarthyist and often absurd exaggerations of Chinese spying everywhere, often opportunistically, the reality is that this works both ways. The CIA and the MI6 want to infiltrate China's own government, meaning a real Cold War style spying game in taking place behind the scenes. The statements, views, and opinions expressed in this column are solely those of the author and do not necessarily represent those of the Russia Today. Yeah, I would say Timur Fomenko is what he was better before. I'm sorry, Timur, you are still my first one. I guess John there was my sixth, isn't it? John Staunton. I don't remember. John Johnston. Is great too. I mean, one of the most favorite article was from this guy, I guess. I don't remember. Do you remember, Mursi? The article we just read yesterday. You were walking around, isn't it? Not paying attention at all. Huh? June 8, 2024. Home Russia and former Soviet Union. Western hegemony is over. Moscow. Russian intends to. Here we have Maria Zakharova with a beautiful hair dress. Look, he made an ABBA hair dress here. This was a joke I wanted to make when I saw him. He's kind of ABBA, you know, the band, the Norwegian, the Swedish band. And here we have Maria Zakharova, ABBA cover. I'm sorry. Dancing Queen. Russia intends to fight for. No, the Akitas are not here, I guess. Russia intends to fight for a new polycentric world. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said at SPF. New polycentric world. So they are not talking about multipolar world, multinodal world, as Pepe Escobar said. Who knows? I hope so. The bad news is I am in Chile, which is nothing. It's not a pole. It's nothing. What about that? We live in a polycentric world. Yeah, I guess polycentric is the same as multipolar. It's the same, I guess. Anyway, but you know, as SPF is going on, they have to say something new. I guess that's my opinion. You know, that's my criticism. They have to upgrade the narrative. The concepts of hegemony and global dominance, which the collective West clings to, have to place in the multipolar world order, which is already becoming a reality. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Thursday. Speaking at a panel discussion on new norms of international relations at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum's (PF), Zakharova slammed Western governments for resisting the structural changes, which have already started with regard to the self-organization of nations and the interactions with other states. Quote, we are talking about polycentrism, a departure from previous norms, and we see the desperate resistance of the collective West. They see the norm differently, as their own dominance, as a world based on one rule, that they must dominate as before, and everyone must do only what the dominant allows them to do. She stated, adding that the drive for dominance has only ever led humanity to monstrous tragedies. Oh yeah, so I like this because it's saying that Russia will not dominate us Chileans. Unfortunately, dominate us, Maria Zakharova, Maria Shaparova, Maria. I forgot the tennis one. Shaparova. I forgot. Including colonialism and Nazism. Quote, today it is hegemonism, an obsession with domination, a painful pseudo-messianic idea of the West's global mission. But neither people nor states can declare themselves as missionaries. Only history can prove whether their mission was good or based on unhealthy ideas, Zakharova said. I guess it's I have problems. Shaparova, Maria Shaparova. Well, you know, messianism right here, messianic things. We are full of Jesus Christ religions, full of them. They are kind of 2 or 3 sending propaganda on social media, and well, definitely they have a lot of religions and they have beautiful blonde women. Beautiful blonde women. So Maria Zakharova maybe is not Russian Orthodoxy religious missionary, I guess, but she's beautiful too. I will go to your church, Maria Zakharova. What about that? She added that the ideas of a global dominance, of the exceptionalism of some nations amid the destruction of ethnic and cultural identities of others have repeatedly been expressed by Western leaders. She went on to say that these ideas are not shared by the global majority, which has already embraced the concept of multipolarity. Quote, we should not forget they are a minority. The collective West, their worldview is shared by no one except for them, she said, citing memorandums adopted by multinational blocs as the Russian-led BRICS group, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, African Union, and others, in which member states commit to forming a multipolar world order. The SCO covers 3 billion people, half of humanity. BRICS covers of 30% of the Earth's massland, 45% of the world population, some 3.5 billion people, and 33% of global GDP, 3% more than the GDP of the G7, she stated. Zakharova noted that even in the West, some analysts claim that the US has not been a world hegemon for a long time, while its actions in the international arena have led to the destabilization of world politics. However, until there are significant changes in policy and ideology, Russia and its global allies have a long struggle ahead to form a truly polycentric world order, she said. Well, maybe she was talking about Germany, I guess. So, but Germany, as everybody knows, is in decadence. Maybe maybe Germany will disappear. What about that? No, I'm just exaggerating. While our cause is not simple, it is worthy and noble. It is worthy and noble, and we will walk this path as a global majority. We don't call it a mission, though. We call it our goal and objective. Unfortunately, I say bitter criticism is not communism anymore. Back in Soviet Union time, it was easier, I guess. I guess that was even more fair, because global majority capitalism will still will still killing people, just because of capitalism. Capitalism kill people. So anyway, June 6, 2024, Home World News. Netanyahu can't say no to Biden, while the U.S. Will the U.S. stop the bloodshed in the Middle East? A Hamas deal might get the Israel Prime Minister in trouble, but pressure is mounting on him to accept it. I'm not gonna read this because, as you know, I guess everybody is financing Israel weapons. What about that? So I provoked Pepe Escobar. He didn't want to say nothing because bitter criticism. Pepe Escobar is selling a lot of books. That's why he's one of the richest guys in the world. No, he is one of the richest persons in the world. It's different, He's a human being, one of the most rich human beings in the planet by selling books. What about that? June 8, 2024, home Russia and former Soviet Union. SPF 2024, over $71 billion worth of deals signed in St. Petersburg. This is super interesting. This is what in this channel we think I think is super interesting. The economy, the geoeconomy, I guess. Yeah, somebody says geoeconomy, macroeconomy. Well, economy anyway. June 8, 2024, former home Russia and former Soviet Union. SPF 2024, over $71 billion worth of deals signed in St. Petersburg. I guess that this is what the West just don't allow to do, to challenge the hegemon, to challenge the hegemonic economy in the world. And this is just what is happening. Guests from 139 countries have attended the annual economic forum in Russia's second city. Almost 1,000 deals in contracts with a value of more than $6.43 trillion rubles, which is $71.87 billion, have been signed in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, SPF, according to Russian presidential advisor and executive secretary of the SPF organizing committee, Anton Kobaykov. I guess it's Kobaykov. Anyway, speaking at the forum's final press briefing on Saturday, the top official said 21,300 people visit from 139 countries, including Russia. Kobaykov added that 3,550 foreign and Russian companies from more than 90 countries participated in the event this year. We have announced figures that are not commercially confidential, he added. According to Kobaykov, 59 nations stated their willingness to join BRICS. the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) and the Eurasian Economic Union (EAU), as these groupings are providing new members with opportunities to boost cooperation in new formats of the multipolar development concept. Now, most of the Earth's inhabitants are with us, the official said, highlighting that Russia and its allies account for nearly 45% of global economy. The presidential advisor noted that the weight and importance of SCO in a global context is increasing. Although it was launched as a forum for China, Russia, and the Central Asian state, it has been actively developing and now includes India, Pakistan, and Iran. You know, the SCO, as I'm reading a lot of Russia Today articles, the SCO is more reliable than the BRICS because, you know, South Africa and Brazil, they are kind of dominated by the imperialism by this time, you know. So in the foreseeable future, maybe the SCO is the only, what I said, reliable investment, you know, because the United States will keep dominating Chile, Brazil, Argentina, you know. Argentina is a key question here. They lost Argentina. BRICS lost Argentina, and Argentina is doing terrible. There's a lot of problems in my social media. I see Argentinians all day long complaining about life cost of living, about bus price, gas price, education, privatization, everything. Which is sad because in Russia there's no tuition free studies in college, I guess. Not for Italians, as I asked on emails. We can safely say that the SCO is destined to become a new center of economic power in a changing world. Kobyakov concluded. St. Petersburg, known as Russia's northern capital, hosted the 27th annual SPF beginning on Wednesday. The main theme of this year's forum was the foundations of a multipolar world, the formation of new areas of growth. The 3-day event featured around 400 business events, including panel discussions and international business dialogue meetings. And that's it. Well, as I guess that's the most important in between lines. They are thinking the SCO is better than BRICS, you know, to invest. Anyway, June 8, home Russia and former Soviet Union. German politician flees to Russia. I'm not going to read this because it's not so important. Former AFD member Olga Petersen has claimed that authorities in Hamburg were planning to seize her children. Yeah, I'm going to skip it. June 8, Home World News. NATO chief scraps 100 billion euros Ukraine fund plan. Bloomberg. The proposal fell flat with members of the US-led military bloc. The outlet had said. A photograph of the Secretary General of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, in Rome, Italy, May 8, 2024. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has ditched a 5-year plan to provide Ukraine with 100 billion euros, which is $108 billion in military aid after pushback from members of the bloc. Bloomberg reported on Friday, citing people familiar with the matter. In April, several Western media outlets reported, citing diplomatic sources, that Stoltenberg has presented a draft long-term military support plan for Ukraine, designed in part to guard against any cut in U.S. support if former President Donald Trump returns to the White House. Earlier this year, Trump called for restricting aid to Ukraine to loans and insisted that European NATO members match Washington's level of assistance to Kiev. The Stoltenberg plan was reportedly being questioned by several NATO members who sought clarification from the bloc's Secretary General on where and how the enormous sum of money involved would be obtained. The unnamed officials told Politico last month that the plan was confusing and that the 100 million euros figure will be revised. Earlier this week, a NATO diplomat told the FT that Ukrainian authorities were not super thrilled with the idea either, pointing out that the package would in practice only duplicate bilateral and EU managed commitments and not actually represent fresh cash. Instead, Stoltenberg is expected to submit an updated plan to provide Kiev with lethal and non-lethal aid of around 4 billion euros annually. The sources told Bloomberg the new proposal will reportedly be discussed by NATO defense ministers next week. So why don't you give me 1 billion euros? Under the new plan, which is aimed at providing more transparency about what Ukraine supporters contribute, the amount of assistance from each NATO member will be determined on the basis of a percentage of their gross domestic product. The US will reportedly account for nearly half of the aid, with the other 31 members providing the rest. The sources also told the news outlet that Turkey has cautioned that any coordination of military assistance for Ukraine could create the perception of greater involvement of the bloc in the conflict. Last month, Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó said that Budapest was opposed to the initial plan, explaining that since the aid was to be collected over 5 years, this meant NATO expects the hostilities to continue for this period. The diplomat added that Hungary does not plan to participate in arming Ukraine or training its soldiers. The country's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has expressed the view that NATO is getting closer to war with Russia every week. I hope not, I hope not. Anyway, June 8, Home Business News. SPF 2024, Rosneft chief reveals the cost EU paid for rejecting Russian gas. This is the typical news I love to read because I guess the most important thing since the 19th century it is economy. It's been economy. What about that? June 8, Home Business News. SPF 2024, Rosneft chief reveals cost EU paid for rejecting Russian gas. Members of the bloc have shelled out 630 billion to replace Moscow resources, Igor Sheshin has said. EU nations spent more than $630 billion on non-Russian gas imports in the 3 years through 2023. In the 3 years through 2023, the head of Russian oil major Rosneft, Igor Sheshin, told an energy panel at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum on Friday. Everybody knows in podcasts and so on that there's a lot of people saying, well, I guess it's well known that Europe is not buying Russian oil directly, you know, but they are buying Russian oil for a third party. You know, they buy Russian oil from a third country. Anyway, the figure is close to investments made in the bloc into so-called green energy over the same period of time. Chechin said, describing it as quadruple the aggregated gross domestic product of the Baltic states and equal to the total volume of the Swedish and Polish economies. Quote, the sum also equals the EU's total gas spending over the previous 8 years, the Rosneft chief highlighted. Higher energy costs are eating up the margins of energy-intensive sectors such as production of steel, fertilizers, chemicals, ceramics, and glass. He said, adding that production activity in the euro area has been declining since the middle of 2022. He stressed that 32% of German enterprises are already planning to transfer their production facilities abroad due to increased energy costs that inevitably deprive them of competitive advantage. Russian gas exports to the EU have dwindled due to sanctions related to the Ukraine conflict, as well as to the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines, which were previously Russia's major gas route to the region. Last year, Russia's share of pipeline gas imports to the bloc dropped to about 80% from 41% in 2021, according to European Council estimates. Meanwhile, Moscow still accounted for around 15% of total EU gas imports, including pipeline gas and liquefied natural gas, LNG combined. Norway has overtaken Russia to become the region's top pipeline gas supplier, while the EU is increasing imports of expensive LNG from the US and other countries. So Norway should be a great country to live in, but somehow I guess it's too the economy is too expensive, isn't it? And there's a lot of inflation even for normal regular citizens. But anyway, Politico reported in May, citing draft documentation, that the EU was mulling the idea of sanctioning Russia's LNG sector. The measure is not expected to directly bar the bloc's imports of the super shielded fuel, but will reportedly prevent member states from re-exporting it. In October 2022, Rosneft CEO Chechin warned that the bloc's ambitious plan to ditch Russian energy will cost its economy up to 11.5% in GDP. He also said that the potential slump in the chemical industry will reach 50 to 45%, while metallurgy output could plummet by 30 to 60%, as these are among the top energy-intensive sectors. Earlier this year, German Vice-Chancellor and Economy Minister Robert Habeck said that this country has lost its competitive advantage after abandoning Russian gas supplies. He admitted that the EU's economic locomotive has been in a particularly difficult situation, as gas imports from Russia has been very profitable. Last year, the minister warned that Germany will have to wind down or even switch off its massive industrial capacity if Ukraine's gas transit agreement with Russia is not extended after it expires at the end of 2024. Anyway, as you know now, I feel great today to make a 1-hour show. Yeah, I'm started to do a 1-hour show. What about that? Tommy want to go. Hey, Tom want to go home. But I have a well. I'm just in the 29 page of 191 pages. So I have to keep reading like a slave, a slave for myself. You know, yeah, I'm a journalist junkie. I don't want your pity. I'm a junkie. That's what I am. I like to read news and criticize them. I don't want viewers. June 8, 2024. Home Russia and former Soviet Union. EU founded institution wants Russia Today editor-in-chief arrested. What? No, I need my drugs. I need my newspaper. Oh, she's beautiful. Look, his name is Margarita Simonian. I guess she's beautiful. Look, you know, they want to arrest her to have a chance with her. What about that? I want to arrest her too. I want to arrest you, Margarita. The International Federation for Human Rights has accused several prominent Russian figures of portraying Ukrainians as Nazis. Oh yeah, why not? Oh, you can come here, Margarita. I will respect you. You live with Tommy. Tommy has a room for him. He's okay. He behaved with human beings. I guarantee you. The EU founded the International Federation for Human Rights, IFHR, has asked the International Criminal Court (ICC) to issue arrest warrants for several high-profile Russian media figures and officials, including former President Dmitry Medvedev and Russia Today editor-in-chief Margarita Simonian, over alleged hate speech. Hate speech, and I myself, you know, and this very channel, yeah. So don't watch this show. Unsubscribe. In a statement on Thursday, the IFHR called on the ICC to investigate what is called 6 Russian propagandists, including Medvedev, Simonian, Russian journalist Dmitry Kiselyov, TV host Vladimir Solovyov, TV presenter Sergei Mardan, and Alexei Gromov, who served as first deputy to the chief of staff to the presidential executive office. Like the US, Russia does not recognize the authority of the ICC, dismissing its rulings as null and void. It is in its communication to the ICC, the IFHR alleged that Medvedev, Simonian, Kiselyov, Solovyov, and Mardan played a leading role in the dissemination of discriminatory hate speech targeting Ukrainians on the basis of their political views. In the dissemination of discriminatory hate speech. But who knows, you know, the Azov battalion, they were this guy Moreno, I don't remember now. Moreno, I guess. I don't remember the name of the guy. There was a Nazi guy it was a Nazi leader, and the Azov battalion, they are proud. They have Nazi flags, you know. They are Nazis. Anyway, the organization which filled the document together with the Kharkov Human Rights Protection Group, KHPG, the Center for Civil Liberties, CCL, and an undisclosed Russian NGO also accused Gromov of personally shaping core propaganda narratives. The IFHR has also claimed that the targeted figures were spreading false and distorted narratives, including portraying Ukrainians as Nazis and claiming that Ukrainian state ideology is hatred for everything Russian. Moscow has for years voiced concerns about a resurgence of Nazi ideology in its neighbor, pointing in particular to ample evidence of the Nazi symbols being used by Ukrainian nationalists. It has also repeatedly denounced that in terms of long-running campaign to eradicate the Russian language from all spheres of life in Ukraine, as well as a crackdown on Russian and Soviet cultural heritage. Officials in Moscow have named denazification of Ukraine as one of the main goals of the military campaign against Kiev. And well, 50 minutes, woo! We are going to be here just my 10 minutes, and I guess that's why it's so important to be for the BRICS to be the next UN, But as I said earlier, the BRICS are not so strong as the SCO. Yeah, maybe that's the poll. Russia and China, they have to invest on the SCO, the South Cooperation, South Asian, I guess, South Asian Organization for Cooperation, I guess. Yeah. I guess it's even more. That's even more serious because South is a place in the globe. Understand? So Philippines, Japan, and South Korea, they are controlled by the hegemon. Anyway, but the whole region will have more progress thanks to China. And the whole ASEAN, that's the better issue. That's the better, I guess. Unfortunately, because I know Brazilians, I know Argentinians, I know Chileans, they are stupid. I'm sorry. I'm disseminating Nazi hate speech, but I think these people over here, they suffer malnutrition, and they are stupid because of malnutrition, because of undevelopment. There's no future for Latin America. I guarantee you. Last year, the ICC issued an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin and Commissioner for Children's Rights Maria Belova for allegedly participating in unlawful deportations of Ukrainian children to Russia. Moscow has said that the children were evacuated from the combat zone to ensure their safety, stressing that they could be returned to their parents or legal guardians upon request. Commenting on the IFHR's request, Medvedev called it an acknowledgement of the effectiveness of our combined effort against the neo-Nazi regime in Kiev. He also said that such NGOs have essentially become accomplices of Ukraine's attacks on Russian civilians. So yeah, and now I'm gonna present you the headlines. The headlines of the last of the day. I guess I'm just gonna do a huge first, a 1 hour. I will do a 1 hour first block, like this video, just to show you what I have from Russia Today, CGTN, and Al Jazeera. And then in the bus, I will read CGTN and Al Jazeera. And well, I'm just gonna read the headlines now. June 7, 2024, Home World News. Macron building coalition to send troops into Ukraine. The French president has claimed that several allies have already agreed to deploy military trainers to the former Soviet Republic. More, another one, June 8, Home World News. EU could stop Ukraine conflict in 24 hours, Viktor Orban. In order to achieve this, pro-peace forces need to come to power, the Hungarian Prime Minister has said. So he's waving for the votes this year. I'm not sure which European countries are going to elect more new presidents. June 7th, home Russia and former Soviet Union. Russia's role in a multipolar world. Putin's address to SPF plenary session. Moscow is open to working with all interested parties as the global economy enters an era of drastic changes, the Russian president has said. That's new. This, I guess, is interesting, I guess. Maybe it's too institutional, but I guess I'm gonna read that. It's huge. It's huge. But has a lot of interesting sidelines or subtitles like Future of Russia, Loss of Trust in Western Financial System, New BRICS Payment System. I hope so. Russian economy. Anyway. June 8th, Home World News. All this is from Russia Today. West wants escalation with Moscow, EU leader. The tension to allow Kiev to strike deep into Russia will lead to further tensions, Robert Fico has said. He's in the hospital, he's alive, he survived. He was shot by a pro-Western terrorist. Pro-Western terrorist, yeah. All the Western people are terrorists. The hegemon, the United States of America, the United States government, yeah, they are all terrorists. June 7, Home World News. Toll to attacks on Russian soil won't scare Moscow, Italian defense minister. Smaller NATO members are only irritating the Kremlin by encouraging such strikes, Guido Crosetto has warned. Yeah, she's talking about the Baltic state, I guess. Russia will win, Putin, home Russia and former Soviet Union. The Ukraine conflict will end on Moscow's terms, the president has said. I'm gonna really run now. Just the headlines. Black man will back Trump, 50 Cent. The ex-president's legal problems make him appealing as a candidate, the Grammy awarded winning rap artist has said. That was funny. Biden overlured Macron on Ukraine troop deployment, Politico. Nvidia becomes world's second most valuable company. That is from, I guess this is from Russia Today too. But you know, I'm gonna free Tommy because Tommy is innocent. Tommy, you are innocent, you're free, you can go now. But don't fight other big dogs, Tommy. I will call Vladimir Putin. What about that? Nvidia becomes world's second most valuable company. The US artificial intelligence chip maker overtook Apple by market capitalization on Wednesday. Russia facing a terrible demographic hole, Deputy Prime Minister. The shrinking population could result in a severe labor shortage by the end of the decade. Dmitry Chernichenko has warned. So what about an English teacher like me, or Spanish teacher, Portuguese teacher, any teacher for the beautiful Russian girl? No, I'm sorry, I want to marry a Russian woman. I'm never gonna beat her like your Russian do. I know that, everybody knows that. Russian men beat with women. What about that? Anyway, I'm gonna Xi Jinping hails China-Pakistan ties in talks with Shehzab's sheriff. This is from CGTN. I guess I'm done. I just read the headline, just the headline. So, just the headlines of Russia Today. I took 1 full hour. Now, I was reading news, criticizing. I'm sorry about the critics, the latest critic. I'm not a I'm not sure if I'm feminist. I'm like a radical feminist. I think women should have the same economic rights, the same economic obligations